Good morning. Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Joel Ibanez, and I'm your worship associate today. I'm joined by our minister, Reverend Sian Wiltshire, who will be speaking to you about the gifts of Confucianism, one of the many world beliefs that there is much to learn from. Danielle Lewis, our Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth, is not here today, but we do have our co-music directors, Steve Morihiro and Susan Shaw, and our guest artists, Amelia and Aaron Newstead. We all welcome you this morning. Whether you've been coming for years, weeks, or hours, like parks, beaches, or flowers, we're glad that you chose to be with us this fine day. I do want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you're seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you'll find it here. We're a community of many different identities and beliefs. We are bound together not by dogmas, beliefs, creeds, or fears, but rather a covenant to create a welcoming, inclusive, and loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. Our desire to include you visitors in our future is paramount. As you can see, we have this new sanctuary that we've moved into, which has been years in the making, and our donor recognition is on the back wall, along with our new chalice here up front. In the spirit of building this community, let's recognize the many volunteers who have helped, the many volunteers who have helped to put this service together today. Thank you for your time and talent. Roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones, and Zoomers, we invite you to say hello in the chat. As we worship today, let us also acknowledge that our church property rests on the sacred ancestral homelands of the Ahachiman and Tongva peoples who seek justice and responsible stewardship. We begin our worship today with the lighting of our chalice. Please join me as we say our unison affirmation together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening song.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of Christ and sons of great visions. We are sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We are seekers of truth and the keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. My child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Our opening words may sound a little familiar. This is from the actual foundational text of Confucianism, The Great Learning. It's attributed to one of Confucius's disciples, Zhangzi. The ancients who wished to manifest their clear character in the world would first bring order to their states. Those who wish to bring order to their states should first regulate their families. Those who wish to regulate their families should first cultivate their personal lives. Those who wish to cultivate their personal lives should first improve their minds. Those who wish to improve their minds should first make their wills sincere. Those who wish to make their wills sincere would first extend their knowledge, and the extension of knowledge consists in the investigation of things. When things are investigated, knowledge is extended. When knowledge is extended, the will becomes sincere. When the will is sincere, the mind is improved. When the mind is improved, the personal life is cultivated. And when the personal life is cultivated, the family will be regulated. When the family is regulated, the state will be in order. And when the state is in order, there will be peace throughout the world. From the Son of Heaven down to the common people, all must regard the cultivation of the personal life as the root or foundation of all good. So today we are exploring the gifts of Confucianism. We're taking up this idea of self-cultivation and learning about these things. So this morning, as we listen to the beautiful music by Amelia and Aaron, I invite you to consider how music cultivates your soul. So this morning for our Time for All Ages, I want to tell you the story of Confucius. So a long time ago, it was like 2,500 years ago, in a small village in China, a boy named Kong Chu was born. The world around him was filled with fighting and unfairness. People were hungry, and the rulers were greedy. The families struggled just to get by. Not unlike today, you might say. It was not a good time. But Kong Chu, who later was known as Confucius, wasn't content just to live in that world. He wanted to understand it, and by doing so, he wanted to make it better. He was poor, but he loved learning more than anything in the world. And as he grew older, he studied poetry and history and the wisdom of earlier generations. He came to believe that if people could just be kind, if they could be respectful and honest, society would live in harmony. So he worked really hard and he passed this really big test, which was really hard to do, that let him be a government official. So he went to go work for some of these rulers, and unfortunately he found out that they weren't very smart or very moral. In fact, they were kind of mean. So instead he decided, I'm going to go teach other people. Not just the rich and powerful, but anyone who wanted to learn. Because in teaching, he said, there should be no distinction of classes. Everybody should be able to learn. To his students, he taught the great virtues, we would call them values, that could guide a good life. And I'll give you 3 of them here today. The first is kindness, ren. Kindness, loving others, is a deep concern for the well-being of other people. Matter of fact, Confucius, he said, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. Sound kind of familiar? It's kind of called the silver rule instead of the golden rule. But it's very similar. It's one of the first times it was ever spoken, this idea. Another thing he said was to have li, or respect, sort of proper conduct, doing the right thing in every situation. He said respectfulness without the rules of li becomes laborious bustle. Caution without the rules of li becomes timidity. Boldness without the rules of li becomes insubordination. Having good manners, in other words, saying please and thank you, listening to your parents, your teachers, your grandparents, being kind when online or on social media would be how we would say what li is today. And then there is yi. Yi is about moral integrity. It's about being strong about who you are and what you believe, doing what is right no matter what, even when it's not easy, like finding a wallet full of money and making sure it gets returned to the right person. That happened to me once. I found it in a couch. We found the person and gave it back to them. Now, Confucius, he traveled from kingdom to kingdom, hoping to find a ruler who would live by these teachings. He didn't find one. But he never gave up on the people. And when he died, he only had a few followers. But those students carried on his wisdom, and they wrote his words in a book called the Analects. And they kept teaching what he had taught, that the way to build a better world begins with ourselves, in kindness and respect, and the courage to do what is right. And it wasn't long after his death that Confucianism, or what is actually known as Ruism in China, became deeply embedded in Chinese culture. Confucianism, or Ruism, became the state religion of China and remained so until the 20th century. A source of values and social codes for Taoists, Buddhists, and Christians, anyone in all parts of Asia. It spread all the way out into Korea and Taiwan and everywhere in the East. Today, more than 2,000 years later, people in China across the world still honor Confucius as a great teacher. His lessons remind us that even small acts of goodness can ripple outward to create harmony. I encourage you this morning to imagine what our world might be like with Ren, Yi, and Li in it. And that is our story for today. I'd like to invite Judy Tomlinson, one of our teachers, up here, Reverend Judy Tomlinson. She's going to light our children's chalice, and then we will sing our children if they would like to go to their religious education classes. By the way, the religious education classes are going to be writing notes to veterinarians today to say thank you for saving the lives of animals. So if any adults want to join them, I totally understand. Okay. So today, as I've mentioned this before, but once a month I'm trying to look at the different gifts of different religions to live out our value of pluralism, to understand that different religions offer different gifts to us, right? So today we're exploring what is known as Confucianism or Ruism. Ru actually means scholar. So this is basically someone who likes to learn. So we're going to be exploring Ruism as a spiritual practice, and their particular spiritual practice called Jing Tsua, if I can pronounce that correctly, Jing Tsua. I want to apologize to any Chinese speakers here now. I did look up how to pronounce everything, but I am sure I am not doing it perfectly. But Jing Tsua means quiet sitting. You might think of that as a kind of meditation, and it is kind of, but it has a distinctive purpose to it that for Ruism. It rose about 1,000 years ago during the Neo-Confucian era, when scholars adapted ideas from Buddhism and Taoism, yet kept their focus on the ethical life and this idea of human relationships. While the other forms of meditation often aim to transcend the world, Confucian sort of quiet sitting turns us towards the world, towards reflection and clarity of the self and right action. So in Jing Tsao, we sit upright. Okay, we're going to practice this. So if you want to sit upright, rest your hands on your knees, your eyes gently lowered or closed as you like. And the idea is that you allow the restless monkey of the mind, that is what they call the Zen, the mind heart is the Zen, the monkey of the mind heart, the unity of thought and feeling to just kind of settle. And in that stillness, we reflect on our Ren, on our humaneness. So, I want to invite you then, sitting upright in your chair, not stiff. Let your feet rest comfortably on the floor and your hands on your knees. Keeping your back straight but not stiff, balanced and relaxed. Let your gaze gently go sort of inward and unfocused. Take a slow, deep breath in and a slow breath out. Take a breath in and a breath out. The second step is to bring your attention to the rhythm of your breathing. Notice the cool air as it enters your nose and the warm air as it leaves. Let your breath anchor you in this moment. And when your thoughts wander, and they will, just notice it and bring your attention back to the breath. Each time you return to your breath is an act of kindness to yourself. And now that your mind is maybe a little quieter, a little steadier, I invite you to bring something for you to contemplate to your heart. It could be something that's troubling you, or you might ask yourself, how am I living my values? How am I embodying kindness, respect, and integrity? Allow these questions to rest lightly in your mind. You don't need to force an answer. Just hold them in gentle awareness. How am I living my values? And when you're ready, take one last deep breath. Slowly open your eyes and return here to this room. And hopefully carry that clarity and calm with you for the rest of your day. When you're ready, please join Susan in singing.
I am the calm in the eye of the storm. Come the center. I am the calm in the eye of the storm. Take a breath. I am the calm in the eye of the storm. Come the center. I am the calm in the eye of the storm. You can rest. I am the calm. I am the calm. I am the calm. I am the calm. Take a breath. I am the calm. I am the calm. I am the calm. You can rest. I am the calm in the eye of the storm. Come the center. I'm the calm in the eye of the storm. Take a breath. I'm the calm in the eye of the storm. Come the center. I'm the calm in the eye of the storm. You can rest. I'm the calm. I'm the calm. I'm the calm.
There's a story told about Confucius, or Confucius. A student once asked, "Master, what is the first thing to be done in governing a state?" And Confucius replied, "To correct the names." The student was confused, as you might be. "Correct the names? What do you mean?" Confucius explained, "If names are not correct, speech will not be in order. And if speech is not in order, then affairs cannot be carried on to success." Say what? People have been contemplating these words and what did he mean by them. And in other words, he says that correcting the names means ensuring that words accurately reflect reality and terms are used with integrity. When names and actions do not align, for instance, when a leader is called virtuous but acts unjustly, confusion and disorder follow. For Confucius, ethical society begins with truthful speech. Imagine that. For us as Unitarian Universalists, correcting the name speaks powerfully to our commitment to truth and justice in both word and deed. We too believe that language shapes reality. When we call injustice by its true name, racism, sexism, transphobia, oppression, whatever it is, we begin the work of healing. When we name love and justice and interdependence as some of our highest values, we help bring them into being. This is what he's talking about. To correct the names in our times is to speak that kind of truth about who we are and what we value. To live so that our actions and our words align. It means that if we call ourselves a welcoming congregation, then our welcome must be real. If we proclaim justice, equity, and generosity, our daily choices must embody them. Confucius reminds us that moral order begins not in the heavens, but in honest speech and sincere hearts. Truth-telling in both language and life is the foundation of a just and loving world. Now, the 19th century Unitarians were totally in line with this. For them, cultivation of the self was a sacred practice. They kind of did that, quiet sitting. They didn't call it that. They called it contemplation. They believed that religion was not primarily about salvation and dogma. It was about becoming a better human being. In fact, one of our famous Unitarians, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he was also deeply influenced, by the way, by Eastern thought. He wrote that the purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. Now, for me personally, being useful, honorable, and compassionate is what makes me happy, so I kind of disagree with him a little bit. But, you know, he was kind of a little bit of a downer at times. But I relate greatly to these 19th century Unitarians and Confucians, that to cultivate an inner life is to grow and to learn. So sometimes I do that through contemplation or quiet sitting. Sometimes I'm doing that through reading Tarot or exploring the latest self-help book. I too am always seeking ways to grow, and we Unitarian Universalists, we love learning, reflecting, and deepening. I mean, just look at our congregation. We've got how many book groups going on? Okay, we've got anti-racism book group, a nonfiction group, and a fiction group. We have workshops on self-discovery. I'm doing one on love at the center right now. We love discussions on moral philosophy and spirituality. We love transformation as one of our values. We believe in it. Confucianism, or as scholars, as I mentioned, call it Ruism, offers a kind of kindred spirit to us. Now, Ruism has often been misunderstood, especially by Westerners. When Christian missionaries first encountered it centuries ago, they tried to fit it into a kind of category, right? Like that's what we like to do, right? And so they called it a religion. But Confucianism really, strictly speaking, is not a religion. It doesn't have gods or a doctrine of salvation. There are no prayers to a divine being, no promise of life after death. Rather, it's a way of life, a moral philosophy, a path of self-cultivation and right relationship. Its concern is not heaven, but harmony. Harmony between people, within society, and the rhythms of nature. In fact, to be a follower of Confucius is not to withdraw from the world, but to engage in it more deeply. Confucius didn't teach escape from this society as some Taoists did, nor detachment from desire as Buddhists often encouraged. Instead, he taught how to live within society ethically, compassionately, and gracefully. How to make the human world more humane. That's why we might call Confucius one of the world's first great humanists. He didn't claim divine revelation or supernatural powers at all. He didn't offer a path to another world. He offered a path to live wisely in this one. One of the things he said was, "He who wishes to secure the good of others has already secured his own." He who wishes to secure the good of others has already secured his own. For him, the good life was not found in solitary enlightenment, but in relationship, how we treat one another, how we govern ourselves and our communities, how we balance self-discipline with compassion. I think that this wisdom is deeply sort of compatible with Unitarian Universalism because we too are humanistic at our core. We don't look to some external salvation. We look to our capacity to love, to learn, and to transform. And like Confucius, we believe that transforming the world does also begin with ourselves. Now, Ruism, Confucianism, gives us many gifts, but 5 of its central virtues or ideals of being human can serve as guideposts for us today. And you heard 3 of those in our Time for All Ages, but I want to expand them a little bit more. So the first we mention is Ren, or humaneness is actually usually the more literal translation of it, but it's also translated as benevolence or kindness or compassion. We would say love at the center. And it's at the very heart of Confucian ethics. It is love expressed through our humanity, our capacity for empathy and kindness. Confucius taught that people have within them both good and evil impulses, and we must cultivate Ren to nurture the good, water it, and practice it so that our better nature becomes strong. I think of Ren, I think of love at the center of the Unitarian Universalist values, that love that grounds justice, equity, pluralism, independence, and transformation and generosity. We also mention Yi, meaning moral integrity. It's the inner compass. It's also known as justice. It's that inner compass that helps us know right from wrong and then act upon it. He said, the noble person is aware of what is right. The small person is aware of what is profitable. The noble person is aware of what is right. The small person is aware of what is profitable. So Yi reminds us that ethics are not about convenience, but about principle. It's about loyalty and reciprocity, treating others as you would wish to be treated, even when it costs you nothing. The golden rule is Yi. For us, as Unitarian Universalists, Yi calls us to live our faith not only when it's easy, but when it's difficult, to stand up for justice and equity and compassion in the face of indifference or fear. Yi is the one that asks us, are we living in alignment with our deepest values? And then there's Li. This is one I think sometimes a little bit hard for us to wrap our brain around. It's sometimes translated as ritual or proprietary, civility, etiquette, decorum, proper respect for others. And it sounds a little old-fashioned to us, and we tend to resist any kind of formality. But for Confucius, Li wasn't about empty gestures, it was about rituals of respect to sustain harmony. And there were thousands of these rituals: how to greet a guest, right? We shake their hand. How to honor the dead. We have memorial services, or what we call celebration of life. How to serve tea, and how to govern. By practicing these rituals mindfully, Confucius believed it was a way to show respect. And Li teaches us the way we do things, the tone we use, the care we show, it all matters. And we have rituals as well. We light our chalice, right? We share joys and sorrows. We speak the words of covenant love as the spirit of this church. These are not mere formalities, they are containers of meaning, ways of showing respect for our community. They remind us about who we are and what we aspire to. Fourth one. This one we've been talking about all along, Ji. The fourth ideal, meaning wisdom or simply knowledge or moral insight, contemplation, reflection. Confucius said, by 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First is by reflection, which is the noblest. The second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is bitterest. 3 different ways to learn wisdom. She calls us to discernment, to knowing what is right, not just in theory, but in practice. It is the wisdom of the heart as well as the mind. Personally, I think we live in a world overflowing with information, but starving for wisdom. And Confucius reminds us that true wisdom lies in humility, in listening and reflecting, learning from mistakes, and cultivating compassion as deeply as intellect. For Unitarian Universalists, this resonates with our emphasis on a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. It's not simply to know, but to grow wise enough to love well. And the fifth is Jin, integrity, sincerity, trustworthiness. This is that correctness, knowing what your words say. It's about keeping one's word, being faithful in action as well as in speech. He believed that only people of integrity should be given responsibility. Sorry. No. Only rulers who keep their promises could be by the people, could be trusted by the people. He believed that integrity is the glue that holds all the other virtues together. And without it, benevolence becomes sentimentality, moral integrity becomes self-righteousness, wisdom becomes manipulation, and ritual becomes hypocrisy. Integrity. Boy, we could use a lot of that these days. For us, Jin is about authenticity, living in such a way that our words and our deeds align. It's what builds trust in community, what allows us to covenant together and hold one another accountable with love. So I've been reflecting on these 5 virtues, and I'm struck by how close Confucianism or Ruism feels to our tradition, right, and our values. Both of them are really grounded in this world, not in the next. Both focus on human relationships and ethical living, not belief in the supernatural. Both emphasize love and moral growth as the foundation of community. And like Confucianism, Unitarian Universalism is sometimes misunderstood as not really a religion. We don't fit the traditional mold ourselves. We have rituals, yes, but our rituals are symbolic of shared values, not decrees from a deity. At the center of our faith is love. Love that holds us in covenant with one another and the world. It's a love that compels us towards justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. The shared values that guide how we live and promise together and live out our promises together. So Ren, in many ways, is love and compassion. Yi is justice and integrity. Li is ritual and covenant. Ji is transformation and wisdom. And Xin is trust, generosity, and faithfulness. Confucius helps us see that spiritual growth is moral growth. That enlightenment is not escape, but embodiment. That enlightenment is not escape, but embodiment. In our world today, we can feel as though many of the values that Confucius cherished and that we as Unitarian Universalists also hold dear are under attack. We live in a time when arrogance is mistaken for strength, cruelty for honesty, and self-interest for leadership. Under the current administration, we have witnessed a celebration of division, the erosion of truth, and a disregard for the common good. Policies that pit neighbor against neighbor, that reward the powerful and demean the vulnerable, stand in direct opposition to Ren, to Confucianism, the Confucian idea of humaneness, and to our UU commitment to the inherent dignity and worth of every person. Confucius taught us that righteous action, Yi, matters more than personal gain. Yet we see a culture that prizes profit and celebrity over integrity. He taught that proper conduct, that is Li, sustains harmony in the community, yet public discourse is filled with insult, disdain, and the abandonment of basic decency. He taught that wisdom, or Ji, comes from humility and learning, yet many of our leaders glorify ignorance and refuse correction. He taught that sincerity, or Jin, keeps one's word is the foundation of trust, yet falsehoods are spoken so often and so easily that truth itself seems endangered. Both Confucianism and Unitarian Universalism are traditions of moral cultivation. They remind us that we can only heal the world when we first attend to the conditions of our own hearts. And in time when anger and fear are used as tools of power, our task is to choose another way, the way of love, humility, respect, and integrity. The teaching that we got from our opening words is summarized as this: to put the world right in order, we must first put the nation in order. To put the nation in order, we must first put the family in order. And to put the family in order, we must cultivate our personal life. We must set our hearts right. He understood that many spiritual traditions affirm that outer harmony begins with inner harmony. When our hearts are right, that is steady, compassionate, and truthful, our relationships flourish, our communities thrive, and justice becomes possible. So maybe one of the greatest gifts that Confucianism or Ruism has to offer us today is quiet sitting, jingqiu. It's to take a few minutes each day to sit upright, hands on your knees, and reflect. Is my heart kind today? Have I acted with kindness? Have I spoken with integrity? Am I living my values? This is not navel-gazing, it's soul-tending. It's the work of aligning our inner life with our outer life so that our values become visible in our actions. So in a world that feels kind of chaotic right now, where words are twisted and truth feels slippery, Confucius offers a simple, radical reminder. Harmony begins with the heart, wisdom begins with humility, justice begins with sincerity, love begins with practice. To put the world right in order, we must first set our hearts right. And may we do so today, tomorrow, and always. Amen, and blessed be. Please join Steve as we sing these words by Confucius.
Please rise and body your spirit. Grieve not your heart for want of place, nor yearn for easy praise, but fit yourself some task to do, and well employ your days. From wise and foolish both alike, we should all try to learn, for one can show us how to live, the other what to spurn. Be fair to people when they err, when good your pleasure show, their faults be quick to understand, in judging them be slow. But this above all else obey, it is the best of goals. What you would wish not done to you, do not to other souls.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We're ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. As many of you know, the federal government is currently shut down, and until it reopens, millions receiving SNAP benefits in Southern California are impacted. As such, we're partnering with Second Harvest Food Bank that serves an average of 442,000 people each month. There are multiple ways in which you can support the church and this organization. You can mail a check, you can go through our website, or use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can also simply use the basket as it's passed. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you, Amelia and Aaron. That was beautiful. Please join in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts we share. We gather together, we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
Now is that time when we honor the important events and people in our lives, and you are invited, one and all, members, friends, and visitors, to participate in our weekly ritual that we call Joys and Sorrows. I'd like to begin with inviting Bertie Reed up here. She's one of our pastoral care team members, and she'll help you light any candles if you would like to. The idea is if you've come here today holding something close to your heart, moments from the last days or weeks or hours, something that struck you at your core, if you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow by lighting a candle, you are welcome to do so. If you're a Zoomer, I invite you to write your joy or sorrow in the chat, and then Bertie will light a candle for you when the time comes. I want to also say that there's a little bit of a technical snafu. I think the Wi-Fi in here is down, so I'm going to be people are sending me screenshots of Zoom chat, so Zoomers, give me a few minutes to get those downloaded as well. So, look, there we go. Excellent. Thank you, Steve. Now he's going to put that everything. So now I can see the chat. Go for it. All right. So if you're a Zoomer, write yours in joy or sorrow in the chat, and Bertie will light a candle for you. And once the roomers are done lighting their candles, I'll read all of the joys and sorrows out loud. All right. As music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. Please come forward. All right. So these are people who've lit their candle here in the room. Sandy and Dawn M. said they lit a candle of joy because their granddaughter Sabina's 12th birthday is this week. I remember when she was born. Oh boy, exciting. Right on. And Francie C., she also lit a candle of joy. She says, my grandson Ryan Mayhew is celebrating his 26th birthday today. So yay. His work team, Ohio State College, with its 9th game in a row Saturday is Saturday. Okay. Let's wish him well on his game on Saturday. Okay. Sorry, Francie, if I didn't get that quite right. All right. And Carol R., she lit a candle of joy because she says, my friend Laverne, who lives in Denver, is watching for the first time on Zoom. So let's all say hello to Laverne. You can see her over here. And Ken A., he lit a candle of joy because he was thankful for his 15-day Buddhist pilgrimage to India and Nepal, and so happy to be home and living in the USA. Right on, Ken. And Laura G., she said she lit a candle of joy. This was actually last week. We didn't have joys and sorrows due to the pet ceremony, but she said after church today, which was last Sunday, she got to visit Dinny Melville and Patty Cat, who is Clover's cat, now adopted by Dinny. So if you remember, Clover passed away and Dinny took on Patty Cat. So I hope that all went well. So hopefully if Laura here today, she might be online, we can see how Patty Cat and Dinny are both doing. And Elizabeth K. lit a candle of joy and tradition. She said, in keeping with my annual Veterans Day tradition, I'm looking forward to taking my dad out to lunch on Tuesday to honor his service in the Army. How cool. We thank all those who have served. Peggy H., she lit a candle of hope. She said, may wiser hearts prevail and Congress find a way to compromise and preserve ACA subsidies and opens the government funding snags and all other social safety nets. Amen to that. And Dave C., he lit a candle of inspiration. He says, I was so taken by Reverend Sean's comments that I have decided to write an engineer's guide to meditation. Stay tuned. I look forward to reading that, Dave. And Aaron and Amelia Neustadt, they lit a candle of sorrow for the passing of their dear cousin Dominic, who died at age 89 years. He said, we were honored to play at his funeral. I'm really sorry. And Kathleen M., she also lit a candle of sorrow. She says, my friend and newer member of the church, many of you know Abby McGuire, she says, is struggling in her battle with cancer. Please hold her in your hearts. And Sarah C. says she's feeling rather sick, and she hurt her right knee or her right shoulder, right side of her shoulder. So please hold Sarah in your hearts as well. And Shayna lit a candle of sorrow. Many of you know Light, also her name is Gail. Light, who's been coming here, she said last night, dear Light's husband passed from his life into a new reality. Please hold her and her family in the light of love and connection. And online, thank you, Steve, or whoever gave me their phone. Sarah H., she lit a candle of joy. She says, my granddaughter asked me to take her grocery shopping. So much fun, I got to spoil her. I think as her granddaughter's off to college, right? That's what you do as a grandparent. That's awesome. And Peggy P., she would like a candle of joy lit because Betty H. is home and she and Bob are on Zoom. Let's say hello to Betty and Bob too. That's awesome. That's great news. And Betty and Bob actually wrote as well. They would like a candle lit. Betty says, I am recovering from several small strokes. Thanks for all the cards and well wishes. And Margie H., she would like a candle of sorrow. She says, my friend John Norman recently passed away. He was a hiker and loved his family. I will miss our conversations and companionship. I'm sorry to hear it, Margie. So let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations and all the hurts and sadness, whether they were spoken or remain silent in our hearts. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. This morning, I'm going to invite you to join Bertie in a spirit of prayer.
Spirit of wisdom that moves through all hearts, we pause in stillness, seeking harmony within and among us. May we begin with our own hearts where there is confusion. Let us find clarity where there is anger. Let us breathe compassion where there is fear. Let us plant courage and understanding. May we remember that peace in the world begins with peace within, and that every act of kindness is a thread in the great tapestry of harmony. Amen, and blessed be.
Thank you, Bertie.
Let us join together as we extinguish the chalice and say, together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you all again for joining us this morning. If you're a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become, to become a part of this beloved community. If you'd like to know more about our church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table in the courtyard outside or contact us at hello@ocuuc.org. And we will help you get connected. Zoomers, you're welcome to stay after and chat with one another online. We want everyone to feel the same sense of belonging that we were all lucky to have received when we first came here. So please, reach out, and we'll reach right back.
Right, announcements. You know, there's lots of stuff going on always, every single week, lots of fun things to do. I want to encourage you to have all of these wonderful things that are up there if you want to get involved in this church. There's lots of fun ways to do that. I do also want to mention that next Sunday, after church, I've been asked to speak at the City Hall by Arliss Reynolds, the City Council member, on safe streets. And they're going to do a bike ride around Costa Mesa. So if you want to bring your bike, or if you just want to come and hear me preach, because of course, you know, y'all want to hear me a second time on a Sunday, don't you? You know, come So there's a little flyer outside if you'd like to learn more about it. You don't have to go on the bike ride. I'm not. I'm going to give my speech and go home and crash. But it should be a lovely event, and we all just absolutely adore Arliss. So I want to support her in any way that I can. But the big thing this week, if you don't have any place to go for Thanksgiving, that's not true. You do. You have a wonderful place to go to Thanksgiving here at this church on Thanksgiving Day at 2 p.m., November 27th. It'll be in Daniel's Hall over there, a nice fun space. And they just, now is the time to sign up. There's a place to sign up and say what you're going to bring. It's potluck. I think we provide the turkey, if I remember correctly. And it's over right by Daniel's Hall is the sign up. Jamie and Jazzy are organizing this. I think Amy Tompkins and Randy Kokol are as well. And this is an annual tradition, and everybody is welcome. If you know of people who don't have a place to go, let them know that they can come here and just contact the church and they can sign up for it. But they do need to know who's going to be there and what they're going to be bringing, right? So come on out for that. It should be an absolute blast and fun every year. It is. All right, let me leave you with these words. I wish I had some wise words as Confucius did, but may you all cultivate your souls to live in harmony with this world and make it better, because we need you. We need your cultivated hearts. All right, let us sing our recessional song. Let us go out. Continue.